I noticed he had two phones. The second one appeared the way most devastating discoveries do, by accident. I was reaching into the glove compartment for the car registration during a routine insurance call, when my fingers found it wedged beneath a stack of fast food napkins. A black Samsung, different from his usual iPhone. No case, no scratch on the screen. It was locked. But the lock screen showed a notification, a text from a contact saved as school. Braden got a gold star today. He wanted to tell Daddy himself. Call when you can. K. I sat in our driveway for 11 minutes staring at that name. Braden. I put the phone back exactly where I found it. I went inside. I made dinner. When Derek came home that evening and kissed me on the cheek and asked how Emma was moving, I smiled and said she's been kicking all day. And I did not say a single word about what I had found, because I had learned something important in those 11 minutes in the driveway. If I confronted him now, he would lie. He was good at lying. He'd had years of practice. I needed to know everything before I gave him the chance to explain any of it away. I'm a former paralegal. I worked for a family law firm in Scottsdale for 4 years before I left to focus on our home. I know how to find things. It took me 9 days. The second phone's carrier, I'd glimpsed enough of the notification bar to know it was T-Mobile, different from our shared Verizon plan. I requested our home Wi-Fi router history through our internet provider. The Samsung had connected to our network 3 times in the past 6 months, always during the hours Derek was supposedly in the shower or taking calls in the car. I hired a private investigator named Gerald Okafor, a retired Maricopa County Sheriff's deputy who worked out of a small office on McDowell Road. I paid him $800 in cash I withdrew over 4 separate ATM visits, so Derek wouldn't see a lump sum on our joint account. I gave Gerald the license plate of Derek's work car, the one the company provided, and asked him to follow it on the 3 days per week. Derek claimed he was working local accounts. Gerald called me on a Tuesday afternoon while I was folding onesies. He had an address, 4741 South Kareen Road, Tempe, Arizona, 3.2 miles from our front door. Gerald sent me 12 photographs. I sat on the nursery floor with my phone and opened them one by one, with the careful deliberateness of someone who knows that what they are about to see cannot be unseen. A beige stucco house with a tire swing in the front yard. Derek's silver Camry in the driveway. Derek walking out the front door in a t-shirt and jeans. The relaxed, unhurried version of my husband, the one I only saw on Sunday mornings, carrying a small boy on his shoulders. The boy was maybe 4 years old, dark-haired, laughing. Derek setting the boy down, crouching to tie his shoes. Derek standing at the door, kissing a woman. Dark hair pulled back, visibly, unmistakably pregnant. The last photo was a close-up of the front window, where Gerald had captured something through a gap in the curtains. A wall of framed family photographs. Derek and this woman. Derek and the toddler girl. Derek and the dark-haired boy. And a family portrait. All 4 of them taken at what looked like Encanto Park. They were smiling the way families smile when they don't know anything is wrong. Gerald's note said her name was Kayla Merritt, age 31. She and Derek had been together since 2014, 1 year before he met me at that Starbucks in Scottsdale. They had 2 children, Braden 4 and Lily 2. She was 8 months pregnant with their third. Derek had met me, started a relationship with me, married me, and maintained a second complete family, simultaneously 2 cities apart, for 8 years, while I believed I was his wife, his partner, his person. The morning I found all of this out, I was 34 weeks pregnant. I had 7 days until my baby shower. My best friend Maya had planned the shower for weeks. 30 women at a garden venue in Paradise Valley. White linens, yellow flowers, little Emma's name spelled out in gold letters above the dessert table. My mother had flown in from Portland. My sister drove up from Tucson. It was the kind of afternoon that was supposed to be pure happiness, uncomplicated and warm. I had told no one what I knew. Not Maya, not my mother, not my sister. I had spent the previous week functioning on 4 hours of sleep and the particular cold clarity that comes when grief hasn't yet found its way through shock. I had an appointment with a divorce attorney on Monday. I had already quietly begun photographing every financial document I could access. I was, as my old boss at the law firm used to say, building my file. Derek dropped me off at the venue at noon, kissed me on the forehead, said he had a work call, and would pick me up at 4. The shower was beautiful. I opened gifts and laughed at the right moments, and ate exactly one piece of lemon cake. Maya kept squeezing my hand, saying I looked radiant, saying this was the beginning of everything. At 2:47 p.m., the venue coordinator came to find me at the gift table. She said there was a woman at the front door who was asking for me by name. She hadn't been on the guest list. The coordinator seemed uncertain. She's very pregnant. She seemed upset. I didn't know if I should. I already knew. I walked to the front of the venue alone. Kayla Merritt was standing in the doorway wearing a white sundress, her dark hair loose around her shoulders, 32 weeks pregnant. Her hands folded in front of her, the way people hold themselves when they are trying very hard not to fall apart in public. She looked at me. I looked at her. She said, "You're Rachel." I said, "Yes." She said, "I found your shower invitation in his car. I Googled the venue." She paused. "I think we need to talk." Behind me, I could hear the sounds of my shower. Laughter, music, the rustle of tissue paper. My mother's voice, Maya's laugh. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. We stood in the parking lot of the garden venue in Paradise Valley, 2 women who had been married to the same man without knowing it, both of us carrying his children. And Kayla Merritt told me everything. She had found the first phone, the iPhone, the real one, our phone plan. She'd found it 2 months ago while he was sleeping and had seen my name, my photo, text threads going back years. She'd spent 2 months confirming what she suspected. She had her own file. She had her own attorney. She had come today not to cause a scene, but because she decided she could not bring a 3rd child of this man's into the world without looking his other wife in the eye first. "I'm sorry," she said, and she meant it. I could tell she meant it. "I'm sorry too," I said. We exchanged phone numbers in a parking lot in Paradise Valley, while our unborn daughters kicked inside us. Derek was served divorce papers on a Thursday morning in November, 6 weeks after Emma was born. He was served at the Tempe house. Kayla and I had coordinated with both our attorneys to ensure it happened simultaneously at both addresses. He had nowhere to perform confusion. He had no story that fit. He tried anyway. He called me 17 times the morning of the service. I answered once. He said, "Rachel, I can explain." I said, "Don't." I hung up. In Arizona, what Derek had done was not technically bigamy since he had never legally married Kayla. They had a domestic partnership, not a marriage license. But the financial fraud was substantial. He had been drawing from a joint investment account we held together to fund Kayla's household for years. His attorney was not able to make that disappear. The divorce was finalized 14 months later. I received the Camelback Mountain house primary custody of Emma, child support, and a settlement that reflected 8 years of financial entanglement with a man who had been running 2 households on a single income he'd been misrepresenting to both of us. Kayla had her daughter. She named her Nora in January. She and I text occasionally, not friends exactly, something more specific than that. 2 women who know something about each other that most people never have to know. We have between us a strange and permanent honesty. Emma is 14 months old now. She has Derek's dark hair and my stubbornness, and an absolute inability to nap on a schedule. She is the most real thing that has ever happened to me. Last week I drove past the turn for Kyrene Road. I didn't take it. I haven't been there since the day Gerald Okafor handed me 12 photographs in a parking lot on McDowell Road. I don't need to go back. I know exactly what was there. New stories drop every single day. If you don't want to miss them, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Takes 2 seconds, means everything.